Today we're tackling some AutoSys workload automation concepts that can really trip you up in practice.
Yeah, we are looking at some seriously practical stuff today, like how high availability failovers actually work, how to prep dynamic workflows, and what happens when your jobs just get stuck in those running states.
Right, those are exactly the kinds of things that cause 2 a.m. headaches. So let's jump right into some real problems so you can see how these topics get tested. Let's start with that high availability dual event server setup.
Good place to start. So if the primary server goes down, how does the failover actually work? Are we looking at an active cluster, or is the app server caching transactions, or maybe it's just writing to the primary until a failover happens?
Well, I mean, active is just so standard in modern cloud architecture, right?
Yeah.
It's super tempting to assume both event servers are processing reads and writes simultaneously to balance the load. I would absolutely lean toward that.
Yeah, but that is the classic familiarity bias trap. AutoSys does not actually work that way. I mean, the scheduler does connect to both, but it only writes to the primary database until a failover happens.
Wait, so it's not actually active at all?
Exactly, it's not. And the app server isn't doing any transaction caching here either.
Okay, I got it. So it's kind of like an airplane cockpit. The co-pilot, which would be your secondary server,
Yeah.
is actively monitoring the flight, but they don't actually touch the controls unless the primary pilot goes down.
Spot on. So we've got the infrastructure built, but how do we actually pass data between these systems? Like, what is the main purpose of global variables in a workflow?
Right. Are we using them for defining EM URLs or maybe temporarily overriding an IP address or changing time zones to UTC? Or is it for passing dynamic values and status flags?
Honestly, if I'm troubleshooting a really stubborn agent, being able to override an IP address on the fly sounds incredibly useful.
It does, right.
Yeah.
But that's a really clever distractor. Global variables are not for infrastructure overrides like IPs or EM URLs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or UTC zones for that matter.
Yeah.
Their actual real purpose is passing dynamic values and status flags between jobs.
Okay, so it's essentially like a baton in a relay race.
Yeah.
One job finishes, and then it just hands off that dynamic status flag so the next job knows exactly when and how to start. Makes sense.
Moving from daily execution to system-wide maintenance, how do we upgrade this whole setup safely? Let's talk about parallel upgrades.
Yeah, what's the defining characteristic there? Is it installing over existing binaries, or upgrading the scheduler and event server together, doing Linux agents first, or building a completely separate new environment?
Well, installing over existing binaries is what most of us just do in traditional software. I mean, it's fast.
Fast, sure, but super risky. Installing over existing binaries is an in-place upgrade, which totally flips the whole idea of parallel on its head.
Right, because it's not parallel if you're writing over the original.
Exactly. You would skip the Linux-only or partial steps, too. The correct approach here is building a completely separate new environment and migrating your workloads gradually.
Okay, I see. You wouldn't just pave over an old bridge while cars are still driving on it. You'd build a brand new bridge right next to it and only shift the traffic when you know it's safe.
That is a perfect way to look at it. Speaking of new environments, we have to secure them. Which AutoSys object securely stores authentication credentials for a target server?
Let's see. Is it a global variable, a job profile, a machine object, or a connection profile?
Well, let me play devil's advocate for a second. If a specific job needs to run, shouldn't its job profile just hold the password?
Man, doing that is an absolute security nightmare. I mean, if you scatter sticky notes with passwords across individual job profiles or machine objects, you are just begging for a breach.
Yikes. Yeah, that makes sense. So we rule those out.
Yeah. And global variables aren't for credentials either. The correct answer is the connection profile.
Oh, so it acts like a centralized digital bank vault. The job just points to the vault when it actually needs access. Now, after authenticating, who actually does the real work?
Right. Which component starts the process, runs the script, and returns the exit code? The event server, the app server, the scheduler, or the AutoSys agent?
I feel like people always guess the scheduler because it's the brains of the whole operation.
They do, but the brains don't lift the boxes.
Wait, what do you mean?
The scheduler just plans the shifts. It doesn't do the heavy lifting. And the event server and app server are completely out of the picture for this too.
Ah, okay, so it has to be the AutoSys agent then.
Bingo. The agent is the worker on the floor that receives the instructions, executes them, and returns the code.
Great, that clarifies it. But what if that worker goes completely silent? Like, which utility verifies jobs that are marked as running against actual OS-level agent processes?
To correct those stale states, yeah. Are we using AutoRep, AutoTrack, AutoPing, or the Chase utility?
Well, AutoPing checks if something is alive, and AutoRep gives you the status report. I mean, I would probably just start there.
They are helpful, don't get me wrong, but AutoPing only checks basic communication. It doesn't verify the job state.
And what about AutoRep?
AutoRep just reads what the database thinks is happening. To actually fix a stale running state, you absolutely need the Chase utility.
Oh, wow. So AutoRep is basically just looking at a printed employee roster, but Chase is like walking out to the warehouse floor and doing a physical roll call at the desks.
Yeah, exactly. Checking who is actually working. And honestly, all that verification creates a massive amount of data.
So how do we maintain the event server database performance with all that data? Rebuilding indexes and running DB maintain, using direct SQL, or disabling EE?
Well, disabling security is an obvious trap. Nobody should do that.
Definitely. And using direct SQL, that feels like trying to rebuild a car engine while you're driving down the highway.
Yeah, that totally breaks system consistency. You just stick to routine maintenance, you run DB maintain to purge historical data, and you rebuild your indexes.
Makes sense. Finally, who dictates who gets to touch this system? Let's look at the EM security model.
Right, which two resource classes control machine visibility and job operation permissions? Is it as admin, as control, as machine, or as job?
Well, I mean, admins need to see everything, so as admin feels like a really safe bet.
Admins do have wide access, sure, but for these granular specific controls, it's actually as job and as machine.
Really, so the admin one is just a distractor.
Yeah, as admin and as control do not govern those specific operational levels at all.
I see. So it's like as machine is your key card to enter the building, and as job is the specific key for a filing cabinet inside. That perfectly separates infrastructure from execution.
That's all the key points we shared for the 25613 exam today. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, subscribe and leave us a comment.